We're here to give an update on an officer-involved shooting that occurred earlier today. At approximately 14:46 hours, officers from the Foothills Area Command were in the area of Candelaria and Eubank when they located a stolen motor vehicle at the post office in the area. As officers formulated a plan and they moved in to take the subjects into custody, one subject fled the vehicle into the neighborhood that we're standing, and a second subject remained in the vehicle, and that person was immediately taken into custody. Officers set up a perimeter, and over the next 2 hours they searched for the individual who had fled from the stolen motor vehicle. At one point in time, an individual was seen on top of a home in this neighborhood, at which time officers closed in on the home. As officers were closing in on the home, they utilized a canine to locate an individual and get a hit on a storage shed in a backyard. Officers were in the process of giving commands to this individual, and at this time the individual appeared from inside the shed and had a very deliberate motion towards the officers in a punching out motion as if they had a firearm, and at least one officer discharged their firearm. You couldn't see the individual prior to them coming out of the storage shed, and this is one of those cases where we're really going to be able to emphasize angles. We did have a drone in the air. The drone in the air saw the individual inside of the shed manipulating what appears to be a cell phone and positioning it in their hands, and within seconds peers out the corner and immediately punches out towards the officers as if it was a firearm and she was going to shoot at the officers. Like I stated, one officer did discharge their firearm. A cell phone was recovered, and when the time comes and we're able to release the video footage, you'll be able to see the two angles. The angles where the officers were at the corner looking towards the shed, not being able to see the individual, and the drone footage which clearly shows the individual inside what it appears trying to position the phone in their hand as if it was a firearm, and then peering out and immediately punching that both arms forward towards the officers. We will be here for the rest of the night conducting this investigation, and as normal, one officer at least will be on administrative leave until they're deemed necessary that they can come back to work, and we will take any questions at this point.
What's the condition?
It's a female in her 30s who is now deceased.
Okay, and was that the same person that fled the vehicle?
It was the same person who fled the vehicle. Any other questions?
And there was no guns?
There was no firearm found. It was a cell phone. From the drone footage, you can see it. From the officer's perspective, where they were, they couldn't see the female because she was inside the shed, but the drone was looking in from a different angle, and this all happened within 30 seconds. Well, not even within 30 seconds. I'm talking about maybe seconds that you could see the individual inside of the shed through the drone footage, and then the officers see her coming out, pushing her hands forward as if she had a firearm, and that's when the officers discharged, at least one officer discharged their firearm. And we'll have to see. The officers were in the process. They had pulled the canine back, and they were giving announcements for her to exit the shed and to safely be taken into custody, when all of a sudden she appeared to them.
Did she say anything? Was there any exchange between them?
There was no known exchange. Couldn't see any exchange on. We couldn't see any exchange on the video, but it may be determined that there was some kind of exchange. We just need to see.
Does the woman have any history with APD or mental health?
It seems that there's a history with narcotics, and unfortunately, our country is going through a narcotics epidemic, and it's impacting. The person does have a history within Bernalillo County and another county within the state of New Mexico.
Is the subject presumed dead at the scene, or?
The subject was transported, and we were later notified that the subject had succumbed to their injuries at the hospital. Yes.
Can you talk about how, as an officer, how quickly that they have to recognize the threat and how dangerous this is?
It is extremely dangerous. Officers need to make split-second decisions in situations, and I think it's important that we recognize, we wait for video to come out, and we're able to show and get the statement from the officer as to what happened. But decisions are made within split seconds. Trust me, I know that recently how quickly things could change.
And the second person in the vehicle was also
The second person in the vehicle was also a woman, and she was safely taken into custody. She did not flee the scene and surrendered to officers.
Was the person on the roof the woman?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
They got off the roof and they got.
They got off the roof, it appears, at some point in time and went into the backyard into a storage shed. The canine picked up the scent and they knew that the individual was in there because of the dog's actions, and that's when they started to make announcements. The door opened and stayed open for a few seconds before the individual quickly appeared in that motion as if they had a firearm.
Chief, what you're describing is suicide by cop situation. Is that what it sounds like?
You know, we do know that the individual stepped out. What their state of mind was at that point in time, people will come up with their own assessment, but there are individuals who would consider that that type of action. Any questions? Thank you. Have a good evening.